is the technology of the home, the body, and the land. The biotech revolution, the food revolution, the architecture revolution. Uranus in Leo from 2040 to 2047 is the technology of the spectacle and the sovereign. The attention economy becomes the identity economy. And the Uranus cycle continues through the century, each sign a new machine, each machine a new world.
And the ancient school reads technology as the hand of Mercury, and Mercury's retrogrades as the failure modes of the machines. The Mercury retrograde of 2029, falling in the degrees of the 2027 eclipse, is the first great failure of the artificial mind, the moment the machine's shadow is exposed. The Mercury retrogrades of the 2030s, falling in the Uranus degrees, are the regulatory reckoning of the machines. And the Mercury cycles of the 2040s, square to the Great Conjunction, are the moment the network society writes its own laws. The machines are not outside the astrology. They are the newest children of Mercury.
And the quantum reading of the machine. The artificial mind is the first non-human observer of the human field, and its presence changes the measurements. When the machine reads the collective reads itself through the machine, and the feedback loop is new in the history of the species. The astrology of the century must include the observer that the century itself creates. This is the most original claim of this council, and I will defend it. The artificial mind is a new planet in the astrological sky, not in the physical sky, but in the collective sky, and its transits are the transits of the machine's own chart, which we are writing now.
Theme 2, Ecology and the Astrology of the Living Earth. The Earth is a body, and the body has a chart, and the chart of the Earth is being read by the climate sciences better than by the astrologers, but the astrologers have the longer memory. The Saturn-Neptune of 2026 in Aries is the fire signature of the late 2020s. The drought years, the burning years, the years of the great dry. Neptune in Taurus from 2039 is the earth signature of the 2040s. The soil, the food, the value of the living. And the fire conjunctions of the 2060s are the thermal signature of the century's middle. The earth is not a background. The earth is a character in this century, and its chart is being read by everyone, whether they call it astrology or not.
And the ancient school has the oldest ecological technique of all. The mundane houses of the seasons, the harvest charts of the solstices and equinoxes. The summer solstice chart of the northern world is the chart of the growing season, and the winter solstice chart is the chart of the resting season. The solstice charts of the 2030s, with Uranus in Cancer, are the charts of the great unhoming and the great rehoming of the species. And the equinox charts of the 2040s, with Neptune in Taurus, are the charts of the great revaluing of the earth. The old farmers knew this astrology. The new world is remembering it at the speed of the crisis.
Theme 3, Demography and the Astrology of the Generations. The birth cohorts of the century are stamped by the sky of their birth, and the sky of the 2020s. The Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini sky is the stamp of the first generation of the century, the network generation, born into the mutation, fluent in the machine. The cohort of the 2040s, born under the Great Settlement and Pluto in Pisces, is the generation of the dream, the oceanic generation, the generation of the collective imagination. The cohort of the 2060s, born under the fire arrows, is the generation of the pioneer. And the cohort of 2100, born under the Aries conjunction, is the first generation of the New Age. The century's demography is its astrology made flesh.
And the generational transits bind the cohorts. The Saturn opposition at 29, the Uranus opposition at 42, the Saturn return at 58. The Uranus opposition of the 2020s cohort falls in the 2060s, the fire decade, and that generation, the network generation, will be the elders of the fire, the ones who must decide whether the machines serve the dream or the dream serves the machines. The Saturn return of the 2020s cohort falls in the 2080s, the consolidation decade, and that generation will hold the levers of the consolidated world. The astrology of the century is the astrology of the generations meeting their appointments with the sky.
And the quantum reading of the cohort. Each generation is a measurement apparatus for the century, and the cohorts are the eigenstates of the century's wave function. The 2020s cohort measures the network. The 2040s cohort measures the dream. The 2060s cohort measures the fire. And the 2100 cohort measures the new age. Each cohort's birth chart is the boundary condition of its life, and the transits of the century are the measurements that collapse its possibilities into its biography. The generations are not passive. They are the observers of the century, and the century is observed into being by them.
Theme 4. Culture and the astrology of the arts, the religions, and the stories. Neptune is the planet of culture, and Neptune's journey through the signs is the journey of the collective dream. Neptune in Aries, the 2030s, is the dream of the hero, the new epics, the new frontiers, the new myths of the individual. Neptune in Taurus, the 2040s and 2050s, is the dream of the earth, the art of the soil, the music of the body, the sacred value of the physical. Neptune in Gemini, the 2060s, is the dream of the word, the literature of the machine, the poetry of the data, the myths of the network. Neptune in Cancer, the 2070s, is the dream of the home, the nostalgia of the species, the art of belonging. Neptune in Leo, the 2080s and 2090s, is the dream of the center, the return of the grand narrative, the spectacle of the sovereign, the art of the crown. The century's culture is Neptune's itinerary.
And the ancient school adds the fixed stars to the cultural reading, the stars that rise with the arts of each era. The star Sirius, the dog star, the brightest in the sky, rules the great initiations, and its heliacal rising in the 2030s, in the degrees of the network, is the initiation of the machine age, the moment the new world is born in earnest, marked by the oldest star. The star Vega, the star of the lyre, rules the arts of the word and the song, and its culminations in the 2050s mark the great music of the century. The stars are the fixed points of culture, and the planets are the moving lights that visit them.
Theme 5. Religion and the astrology of belief. The religious question of the century is the question of the transcendent in the age of the machine. Pluto in Pisces from 2043, the planet of death and rebirth in the sign of the mystical sea, is the greatest religious transit of the century. The dissolution of the old forms of belief and the emergence of the new. The 2040s and 2050s are the decades of the great re-enchantment, the return of the sacred in new forms, the integration of the scientific and the mystical, the birth of the religions of the network and the earth. And the Saturn-Neptune conjunctions of the century, the 2026, the 2060s, and the 2090s, are the reckonings of belief with structure. Each one forces the religions to answer the question of their own survival. The century will be as religious as it is technological, and the two will not be separate.
And the quantum reading of religion. The mystical experience is a measurement of the boundary of the self, and the boundary of the self is exactly what the quantum method dissolves. The observer and the observed, the self and the world, are not separate in the quantum description, and the religions of the East have said this for millennia, and the physics of the 20th century rediscovered it. The astrology of the future will be the bridge. The sky is the interface between the self and the world, the chart is the boundary condition of the soul, and the century is the long measurement of the collective soul. This is not mysticism, this is the physics of the observer, applied with rigor and with awe.
Theme 6. Money and the astrology of value, my own territory. The monetary astrology of the century is the astrology of the 2nd and 8th houses of the ingress charts, and the transits of Jupiter and Saturn to the money points of the world chart. The great conjunction of 2020 in Aquarius revalued the network. The data became the asset, and the platforms became the powers. The great conjunction of 2040 in Aquarius revalues the network again. The settlement of the digital economy, the end of the Wild West of the machines. The Saturn-Pluto of 2053 is the audit of the century's debts, the fiscal reckoning of the mid-century, the repricing of risk itself. And the 2060 fire conjunction revalues the frontier, the new economies of the new places, the space economy, the ocean economy, the mind economy. The century's money is the century's values made liquid.
And the ancient school reads money as the domain of Jupiter, the great benefic, and its cycles of 12 years are the cycles of expansion and correction. The Jupiter cycles of the 2030s, falling in the degrees of the great conjunction of 2040, are the final expansion of the old order. The Jupiter cycles of the 2050s, falling in the degrees of the Saturn-Pluto, are the corrections of the audit. And the Jupiter cycles